Hoffman, by the way. I'm president of a company called Igniting Performance. Sorry. That's company policy. Some of you were here last year, all right. It is my pleasure to actually work in the business world, and every once in a while I get a chance to share my faith. And so I love taking opportunities like this just with a bunch of people, and maybe to challenge you, because I've been challenged throughout my life, and I'm still being challenged, because how many of you know we're life projects, right? We're not done until God calls us home. And when God calls us home, that's when I'm done learning. That's when I'm done growing. So these are things that I've learned along my life. I hope maybe I challenge you tonight, because the cost is great. But I want you to understand the point of view of a dad. I remember when my wife was pregnant, and every day I would talk to this child, and I would say this is Dad. That's how I started. It was very cute. This is Dad. And we talk. We have here before we wake up in the morning, before we go to bed. This is Dad. It was when I get kicked in the face. Had I known. But oh, this child, I love you. This is Dad. Well, we would be very angelic, and my wife is going through labor, and she actually goes through labor and has to have a cesarean. So we have a cesarean. I'm very concerned. I'm very, very concerned. And the baby is like halfway in and halfway out, and I don't know what it was, because of drugs or just the trauma, but she came out halfway. So she's like screaming, "Ah!" Just like that. I was like, "Ah!" I'm looking over the curtain going, what the heck? Oh, it's, hey, Satan, come out. I'm not joking. That's what she's doing. Ah, like that. They bring her to the room, right? They bring her to the room. They put her on the table. They're trying to get her to calm down, so they can measure her. And they're rubbing her down, and she looks gross, so they just rubbing her down and everything. And they finally stretch her out there, and she's screaming. Her hands are like this, going, "Ah!" And I walk up, I'm behind this, and I go, this is Dad. And she goes, "Ah!" Just like that. I'm not joking. That's exactly what she said. She goes, "Ah!" And everybody goes, and I went, "I will give you everything." And I literally pick up this child, because they wrapped her up in swaddling clothes. It was really weird. And they gave her to me. I literally, and I did this with all my children, I knelt down on the ground, not that close, but I knelt down and I dedicated that child to God. Because my dad said, "Oh, Lord, help me. But I am so deeply in love with this child. It's cool." That child grew. My very first. I have 3 daughters and a son. And I have to tell you, I remember her being baptized. She was a great kid. She's just a really kid. I mean, she was angelic. She passed around. And literally during Mass, she would make the rounds of the church. People would just go, "Here you go. There you go." We'd pass her around. And it was great. And we'd pick her up after Mass. It was nice. But she was just very angelic. But I remember the day she was baptized. I remember because Father Matthew he held her up. Father held her up. And Shereo was so cute. She's sitting up like this. And she goes, "Ah!" Like that. And I'm like, yes, my child. She gets brought into the water, and she sits up and she just looks at the crowd. "Thank you! I am one of you! Thank you very much." I was so happy. Oh, I'm so happy, my child. Oh my gosh. And as the children grow, they grow and and then they start to move. And they're all over the place, and they're getting into mischief. Which I'm kind of excited about, because I like to watch. And I got to tell you, this kid, she could cry, and it never bugged me. I would rock. We would just rock in a little rocking chair. We would just rock. She'd be screaming, "Ah!" I was like, "Oh, just go for it. Look at you with the lungs. It's fantastic." It never bugged me. Just never bugged me. Which was great for my wife, because she couldn't stand it. But I would just let her. We were just connected. My second daughter had a pitch about her that as soon as she went, "Ah!" I went, "Oh gosh, no. I don't know what it is." It was like on Skogboard, like, oh yeah. So, but this child was like, oh my gosh, it's fantastic. She starts to get bigger, and she's walking around, and she's doing stuff, and she's putting her fingers in plugs. I remember one Sunday where, for some reason, "You're possessed. What is wrong with you?" And because she's everywhere. And I'm trying to get ready for church, I'm ready for church. The whole family meets at church, and my father's the deacon, and I hate to walk into church mad, but stop it. And she's literally putting things in sockets. You know, she's almost 2, you know. She's very mobile and very curious, and she's into everything. She's got beans up her nose. We had to dress her 3 times because somebody didn't keep track of her, and she put something on her, and as soon as she'd get it, you know, she's like, la, 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 and everything was off. She's got junk on her. I don't even know if it's Play-Doh or what. I washed her twice this morning. It was one of those days. So we're sitting in Mass, and she's like, you know, the wiggle fish. Have you ever done the wiggle fish? You go to pick her up. Some of you got with some wiggle fishes here tonight, too. Because, you know, wiggle fishes, and they're like, I don't know what it is, but they get that move. It's like, and there's nothing you can do. Nothing you can do. It's like, I'm a big guy, and I can't lift this child. She turned into 1,000 pounds. How did she do that? We're in Mass. I've had it. I've got her wrapped, her legs. That's what I'm doing. I'm wrapping her up and I'm squeezing. And she, you know, she's still got her arm out. I love you, Daddy. I love you, Daddy. I love you, Daddy. Literally, Father. And we always sat in like row 2, too. So Father Matt was like right there going, Michael. They're doing the readings, and I remember the reading that day because I'm trying to wrap this child in a kung fu grip and it's not working. And the reading was about the good dad. It was. You know, the one where he says, you know, what? God is like a good father. He goes, what father, worth his weight in salt, I'm paraphrasing, that wouldn't give their child, or that would give their child a stone or a snake when they asked for bread? You know, God is like that. God is a good father. And it goes on, and Father Matt was doing this great sermon, and all of a sudden I realized, you know, I want to be a good father, but I want to kill this child. Sucking the life of the child. And I literally God gets a hold of me that day. It was really one of those moments, you know, where God gets a hold of me, and literally where I'm struggling with a child, praying for this kid, going, Lord, bless this child, or take her, one of the two. So, you know, God gets a hold of me. And for some reason, I needed to hear it. He says, Michael, do you know this is how I see you? Well, I know. That's exactly what I got from the Lord that day at Mass. He goes, you know, this is, because he's smiling. You can just tell God's up there going, oh, get him. So awesome. Get him! God's up there going, Mary, come here, check it out. Boy, was I ever like that? That's great. And he let me know. He goes, Michael, let me know. Let me tell you something. This is how I see you. And I got it. I immediately got it. He goes, you know what? You're always wiggling from me, trying to run from me, you know, always trying to be places where you're not supposed to be. And I just would give my life for you. And I knew it. I knew he was talking about me because that's exactly what I got. You know, that good father. And I got a taste, because I'm an earthly father, but I got a taste that day. And all of a sudden I realized I would give my life for this child. She drives me nuts. But I drive God nuts sometimes too. Oh, that's so cool. I think I killed her. I'm not sure. Here's the reason why I told you that. What do you think, guys? Why is it important tonight that I want you to think about the cost of discipleship from the point of a dad? Because when you were born, God in heaven, your heavenly Father, jumped for joy. The heavens opened up, and the angels were singing that an opportunity for you by your free will get to come and know me. My creator with the created, my son, my daughter, you are part of the family. And when you were brought into the family through baptism, they held you up, and your soul, whether you know it or not, said, yes! And God was so proud and was so happy. And as you started to grow, whatever that age was, and you're testing things and you're listening things, you too had to go through that stuff. And you're going through it now where the world is loud and the voices are loud. And you're learning to discern my voice, his voice, God's voice, because he only wants what I had a glimpse of. And that is, I would give my life for this child. I would give my life for this child. everything. I would give everything for my kids. Everything. Without a hesitation, I can tell you that, and I'm not making it up. I would do anything for my children. I would give everything for my children. And if that is a taste of what God thinks about us, holy cow, it puts me on my face. And I want more. I want that relationship. I want to know God as Dad. I want him to be in my life as Daddy, Papa. That is not afraid for you not to like me. I'm not afraid of that. Because I'm going to put it in your head, you should not be here. Do you have the strength to say, my dad will kill me? I have to go. You coming? Because anybody you see up on the wall, that's all they did. That's all they did. How can I live my life with the power of a dad that loves me and wants me to be in this world but not of this world, and tap into the power of discipleship? That the cost of discipleship is really about family. And if I understand the strength of my family, with my dad as the head, and my mom right beside him going, listen to your father. And all of my brothers and sisters in one accord that says, I will do anything, I don't care, for my king, I will not be afraid. Well, let's do it when we go out there.